Hi everyone, welcome back to Fresh Parchment. My name is Heather and today it's my Victober TBR. So this is the first year that I'm going to participate in Victober and I am so excited thanks to all of your lovely encouragement and suggestions and your own excitement. It really is contagious. So let's dive into what Victober is and what I'm going to be reading during next month. So Victober is Victorian October, and it is a readathon hosted by three lovely booktubers, Katie of Books and Things, Kate from Kate How, and Lucy of Lucy the Reader, and I'll link all of their channels down below. And every year there are different prompts to read various types to encourage readers to read all different kinds of Victorian fiction and nonfiction that they can. So the first challenge is Katie's challenge, which is to read a book that equates to your favorite modern genre. So my favorite modern genre is historical fiction. So for this prompt, I have chosen The Master of Ballantrae by Robert Louis Stevenson, which takes place in 18th century Scotland during the Jacobite Revolution. And it's a story of rivalry between two brothers that then leaves Scotland and goes all over the world. And Robert Louis Stevenson is the master of the Victorian adventure novel. I love anything to do with Scottish history, especially the Jacobite Rebellion, so this sounds absolutely perfect. Plus, it will give me an excellent excuse to watch the film adaptation starring Errol Flynn, and I love me a good Errol Flynn film. Next is Kate's challenge, which is to read a new-to-you book by a favorite Victorian author. So for this, I'm actually fulfilling two prompts at once, by reading Shirley by Charlotte Bronte. I love Jane Eyre, and it's one of my favorite Victorian pieces. So I was very pleased to get my hands on a copy of Shirley, since I've been hearing wonderful things about it from such booktubers as Lucy the Reader. I know this is her favorite book. And I was very happy to find a Wordsworth Classic edition. I have been loving Wordsworth Classics recently. They're very affordable and I think beautifully done, if very simply done. The other prompt that I get to fulfill with this is the group read. The group read for this year's Victober is also Shirley. So I will be killing two birds with one stone. I know very little about the plot. As far as I can tell, it's about two friends who are struggling with not only romantic decisions, but also societal decisions. One young woman has a lot of money, the other does not. They're both grappling with what a woman's role in society should be. And as far as I can tell, there are two brothers in the story who I assume become the love interests, who are going through similar struggles themselves. And it also involves the Napoleonic Wars and the Luddites, everything that I love. And the first page that I read was actually very funny, which I didn't expect from the Brontes, so I'm very excited to see what the rest of it holds. The next challenge is one that, as of yet, I will not be able to participate in, which is Lucy's challenge, which is to read a Victorian diary or a collection of Victorian letters. I have none of those in the house. I even thought that I had read some when I read the first two volumes of Anne Lister's diaries, until I realized that these sets of diaries are from pre-Victorian England. It's post-Regency, I believe. I believe William IV is on the throne. I'm never sure if he falls into the Regency or not, but they are just before Victoria takes the throne in 1837, so even these don't count, even though they are fabulous. Go read them. So if you have any suggestions of letters or diaries that I could read that are easily accessible, please let me know. Also, I don't have an e-reader, so if it could be a physical book, that would be even better. The next challenge is the Reader's Challenge, which is to read a book that you meant to read last Victober, or a book that has been on your TBR for ages. I haven't participated in Victober before, but The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins has been on my physical TBR for literal years. So I'm very excited to read it. I am then very excited to watch the latest PBS adaptation on PBS Passport. This is one of the quintessential Victorian mystery novels. There's a supernatural element potentially to it. And I believe it's the story of a young man who goes as a tutor to live with this family. And then the entire family begins to experience hauntings. There's the question of, are the young women in the family going to be taken advantage of in marriage? It's very gothic, very thrilling, and it's supposed to be an absolute masterpiece. So I'm very excited to read this one. And the last challenge is the general challenge, which is to read one of your picks while wearing something Victorian or something Victorian-esque. I don't own a lot of clothing that fits that bill. Much as I admire Victorian clothing from the outside, it doesn't tend to look good on me. So I found that this shirt is actually semi-Victorian with its tapered sleeves fanning out into something slightly larger. And I found this necklace that my cousin bought for me for Christmas on Etsy one year, which is a lovely cameo of Sherlock. And yes, Benedict Cumberbatch is not Victorian, but the Sherlock Holmes novels are, as are cameo jewelry. And I might even have a cameo that belonged to my great-grandmother as well, and it's lurking somewhere in the house. I have to go digging for it. But if I can find it, I will definitely wear it at some point during my reading. The last two books on my Victober TBR are not part of any challenge, but they are part of a challenge that I set myself to read more of my nonfiction books. So to that end, I am hoping to read either Charles Dickens at Home by Hilary McCaskill, which is a book full of beautiful photographs that document everywhere that Charles Dickens lived, from childhood through to the last home that he lived in, along with all of the places that he lived and visited in between. And it looks absolutely lovely, and it's relatively short, so I should be able to manage this one at least. If I am feeling ambitious, I may also mix in The Victorians by A.N. Wilson, who is, as far as I know, one of the foremost historians on the Victorian period. I got to see him on a documentary about Victoria and Albert's wedding that Lucy Worsley did. She recreated Victoria and Albert's wedding, and he was one of the commentators and advisors on what Victoria and Albert were like, especially when they were that young. And he was fascinating to listen to, so I was very pleased to find this book in a library book sale. It sadly lost its dust jacket, but that's the least important part, honestly, because what's inside looks absolutely wonderful. It does look a lot denser as well, though, and it is a lot larger. This is about 600 pages. So I may or may not make it through this one, but it is a challenge that I have set myself, and I may get through at least part of it, which would be lovely. I am also going to participate in the Stitch and Listen Along, I believe, that Kate Howe is hosting with one of her friends for Two on a Tower by Thomas Hardy. This is not a Thomas Hardy novel that I have ever read before, but my Hardy professor always referenced it. She seemed to absolutely love it, so I'm very excited to listen to it and work on a stitching project. I just ordered new yarn. It is downstairs. I get to unpack it this weekend, and I will finally be able to start knitting and contributing to my church's prayer shawl project. So it will be wonderful to listen to a new Victorian book and contribute through knitting at the same time. So there you have it. That is my Victober TBR. Let me know what you are going to be reading. Let me know if you have read what I'm going to read. Are you intrigued by it? Have you loved what I read? Talk to me in the comments down below. I always enjoy it. And until next time, be safe, be well, and happy reading. Bye everyone.